Hopefully this thing's turning on. Word problems. Oh, yes, it is. Unfortunately, one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is they don't have trouble doing like math problems, like if they're just given numbers. When there's math problems come in words, sometimes it can be kind of issue. So we're going to talk a little bit about word problems. Word problems. Share this quick. Word problems. And the book starts out pretty easily. Pretty easy. In that they start out about word problems. Anytime you have word problems that are about combining things, or if you're a farmer, combining things, that usually means what type of a problem is it? Because in math you can only do four things. You can add, subtract, multiply, or divide, for the most part. If you're putting things together, what do you suppose type of math problem that is? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. For example, if you have 15 pairs of shoes and you combine another 3 pairs of shoes, how many shoes do you have? That is probably a addition problem. Okay. And it looks kind of like this. Okay, it's an addition problem where, and I'm going to use words instead of numbers, when you start with sum, not S-U-M-E, but S-O-M-E, you have to start with something and you add some more, not s'mores, but some more, and then you end up with a total. And in math we call this handy dandy little thing when we do this a formula, because a formula is what you can use for any type of problem. You just have to plug in the parts that you don't necessarily know. For example, here let's do a problem here. Write down this problem here. The boy hiked 8 miles in the morning. The boy hiked 8 miles in the morning. 8 miles in the morning and 7 miles in the afternoon. And 7 in the afternoon. How many did he hike altogether? And I will tell you this, I'm not so concerned about the answers as I am that you know how to plug it into a formula and use the formula to get the answer. Like, all together. Question mark. So it looks a little like this. He hiked some miles, which was 8. Then he hiked some more miles, which was 7. And you combine those and put those together to get the total. So totally he walked 15 miles. And it's pretty simple because they start you off very simple, but they get a little bit more difficult. You ready for the more difficult one? Now, just because it is an addition formula problem doesn't mean that you're always going to do addition to solve the problem. And here's an example of that. Write down this story problem. Bob paid Sarah $120 for rent. Bob paid Sarah $120 for rent. Sarah had, after he paid her, after Bob paid her, Sarah had, how much did Sarah have? She had $645. How much did Sarah start with? Give you a chance to write that down. Then we're going to talk about this just briefly. Just briefly. Bob paid Sarah $120 for rent. After Bob paid Sarah, how much? So if we think about the formula, we're talking about money that Sarah has. Sarah started with some money. Bob gave her some more money. And then we get how much total money Sarah had. Which two of those three do we know? Do we know how much Sarah started with? Do we know how much more Bob gave her? Do we know how much total she had? Which ones of those do we know?
How much?
Well, don't yell. Parker, which one? Give me one of them. What one do we know? For sure.
How much she had?
How much did Bob give her?
120.
Okay, so Bob gave her $120 more, so that would go with the letter M there. How much more? Now, do we know how much Sarah started with, or do we know how much Sarah had at the end, the total at the end? Yeah? Which is how much? The total.
Which is $645.
Okay, so we need to figure out what that letter S is up there, how much sum she started with. Okay, and we talked about this before. Okay, I just got done saying, even though this is an addition problem, that doesn't mean that we add them together to get the answer. Because if I do add that together, I get 765. There's no way that you could take 765 and then add another $120 to it to get 645. So anytime you see a problem like this, if you remember, I think I told you to do this, think of a simple problem like 8 plus 2 equals 10. If I'm missing the top number here, and I pretend like I'm missing this number here, what do I do with 2 and 10 to get 8? Subtract them, and that's what I'd have to do here to find out how much Sarah started with. 645 minus 120 ends up being, what, 525. So Sarah started with $525. And some people, it's kind of a longer kind of way to do it. But it helps you in the end when we do problems that aren't quite so simple there. So when the book asks you to write out a sum and some more problem, that's what they're talking about doing. Plugging it into something that looks like this. And then solving it. They're pretty good about doing that sort of thing. And that, children, will conclude the test of the National Broadcast System.